All right, welcome aboard. Again, for the three or four of you that watched the video, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyways, this is really kind of the thing I wanted to show you. I've watched a lot of Lego videos, and I don't know, just not anything I was really into. Thought maybe other people would feel the same way. Up to this point, you've seen me show you 4 floors of commercial space, and I showed you this maybe in the last video or two ago that it was just a flat board, and I showed you the model I wanted to use. Anyways, there was a bump out in it, so you can see I put this on here, and then I put those two on the one side, and then on the other side, because the elevator chute is here, I put one on this side, and you can see I have the post. And it's interesting. I've never used these before. I was actually trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the shape pieces that I have that I never use, and bam, then I needed them. Now I'm not sure if I have enough. So the original concept here, or interestingly, there is no concept. I put a flat thing down and had some kind of idea of what I wanted to do, and building all of this is crazy. I mean, like I've told you, there's no instruction manual whatsoever. So I really kind of started with the elevator chute, and then there's a hallway. The idea was that I wanted this area where you walk in through the elevator to be open all the way up. And then I wanted a center area where everything was opened up. So you can see this area here actually where the brown, the oh man, the Nugit floor is. You can see I got that through there. Actually, I want to take these out anyways. Of course, I dropped it. So you can see that space there is the hallway, and the idea is for it to rise all the way up to the top. So you'll be able to see all the way up to the top. And then my idea was, if you look at one of my last videos where I make the joists, you can see I put this on top of here, and then I put the joists in here. You can see this guy here, he's inside his little room here in his couch. And then there's a TV on the wall in there. And then we got this open area where this is, and you got the carpet down there. Super cool carpet, huh? Or at least it was in the 90s when these Orientals were hot. Not so much today, I don't think. And then this is the door leading into it. And this is, so I'm thinking that's like the living area, and then an open foyer kind of space. And then somewhere around here, I got to put a kitchen in. All right, a kitchen and a dining type of area probably right here. And then this area here goes into the bedroom, right? So I think that's pretty cool. And so you get the bedroom. They got the Lego set in there, the Friends Lego set. And then you get a little area here, you know. You could do different stuff with this space, but it's like another room basically right here. And then this area here for the kitchen and dining room. And then the open foyer space, you know. And then you got the room in here with the man cave, we'll call it, you know. And then the idea is, originally, the reason I got these bricks over here was, so what I have is one of the instruction manuals for the general gyms. And it's the 3rd floor, actually, if you look at it. Anyways, you can see that's the height of the book. So that's actually the height of each floor. So what I did was, originally, before I started doing anything, I took the size of the book. I'll get rid of it because it's a weird shot there. And then I took 3 of these. So it ended up being 9 of them. So these are 9 each. And then, see the brown ones there? Those are 9 each. So I started all of this by putting the brown pillars in. And then this is going to be the last floor this size. It'll be the 5th floor. I can only go so high up in the air. Real quick, I got those 2 floors and those 2 floors. So we're getting kind of high up in the air, you know. And so this is going to be the last floor for this. So this is the elevator coming up. And then you go through this elevator in the hallway and go over here. So this is the hallway. And then what I want to do is put another space that goes up the center of it. So this will be the last level that's this size. And then probably one that's it'll probably be like half the size of it, but it'll sit in the middle of it. And then that's the elevator for that one. So, and then what we're going to do is take this, and let me just go back over here real quick. So you can see these joists up here. And I am telling you, I've never built, this is the first level floor that I built where every step of the way I just kept thinking, man, I need more Legos. Holy cow. I mean, I not even, there's stuff I wanted to do I couldn't even do because I didn't have enough Legos. But so this is the first floor. And then originally, I showed you those bricks. Sometimes I forget I'm an Aquarius, I'm sorry. So these bricks here, there were 3 of them. The brown ones, the white ones, and the green ones. And the idea was I was going to make 3 levels. But what happened was we got the 9s, but then I had to put the 2 levels on top of it. You can see where the Technics beam is there. And so with the 9, and then you get 10 and 11. So I did the math, and basically where we're at now is I think we're only going to be able to do 2 levels is really what I'm getting at. I just won't be able to fit 3 in there. So this would be on top of this. So I might, since I can only do 2 levels, I might do make it 1 higher, try to create more space up there. But you can see it's a lot better. It's a lot lit up. I'm going to start looking into lighting for these. But you can see it's more lit up that way. But ultimately, it's going to have a ceiling, you know. And you can see him in there. Look at him. He's chill, man. Totally chill. He and that sofa were on the first floor in the but I'm glad I finally have a crib to put him in here, you know. So that's that. But you can see that. So and then another thing, when you're building stuff like this, so it's crazy, but so this was the first time I was going to build the elevator shaft and not make it blue. So I did. I made it white. And then when I went to put this on here, if you put it on here, that's the elevator shaft. So you can't do that because you got to keep building up the elevator shaft. What that means is, if I want, and I do want to have an edge to put this plate on so it's even with the joists, it'll kind of fall in. I don't want that. That's garbage. So I want that, right? So when you're building this and you have no instructions and you're doing it as you go, what that means is I have to take this wall completely apart, which is all connected to this wall. Fortunately, the beige wall is a different wall, so it won't be connected to that one. But actually, I got to take the beige wall apart. I have to move this wall in, like move it over 1, so I can build a blue wall next to it, so I can keep the blue wall going upwards and then be able to connect to this. It's crazy, you know? Something little like that. It's not like I can just pick it up and move it over 1. I got to take it all apart, and then I'll have to build the 2 next to each other. I was trying to save some blue because the model is blue, gray, and kind of yellow, I guess. And I was trying to save some blue, but you can see you can actually see the outside of it. It would be crazy to try to build this with the outside built up, but you can see it's going to be blue around up to probably the height of this. Actually, that's what I'm going to do is make the first level blue. And then once I do the second level, that'll be gray like the model is in there. And then I'll trim it with yellow. And the whites, the front of these are always white. So the front will be white. And you can see I put a door in. I actually used that door and then the bedroom. I put a door on the bedroom. It's the first time I've ever used these. I actually had to get the doors and windows out. You can see even like here, I made my own windows. There's another one, the white one there, looking in from the hallway there. There's another window, which I'll, double on the outside of it. But so anyways, this is the part of doing this that I wanted to show you. Like, it is tricky, everything I'm doing. I'll say it again. There's no instruction manual. It's crazy, I wish I could hide those holes there, but I only have, onesies, 1x4s and 3s and whatever. So there's not really, so I'm going to have to put like studs in there and put flat panels over them. I did that on a few other things, on the commercial floors. And then I like this little bedroom here, and it's got the door here, and it'll have its own little deck. Look at this guy. He's got his little Russian hood on there. He's a space guy. He must be a cosmonaut. If you grew up in the 80s, you know what a cosmonaut is, You know, the more time goes, the more I like Drago, That guy, if he dies, he dies, So, but, there's a movie coming out. I play Rocky. Somebody playing the part like where Sylvester Stallone wrote I got to see that. So, that'll be great. Anything Rocky related is fantastic. So anyways, we got this guy back in here. And this guy, that cartoon? That guy looks like that guy. He also looks like a guy I painted a house for once. So, but this is it. This is how far we've come along. Boy, I tell you, could be totally different the next time I show it to you. But just to give you, it's more about the idea of like how much goes into this. And then, like I said, the idea of how much money I'll have to spend to get the Legos I need to do all of this. I had a ton of floor tiles, the flat tiles, ton. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll use them here in the hallway, Man, I ran out. I can't believe it. First of all, I'm doing all this flooring, and I don't have any ones. See that square, the one by there? I had a few of them, now I got none at all. But I didn't have those. That was extremely frustrating. Have all this pieces and not have the one bys. But I put all of this in, and I didn't have enough to finish. Like, you think you could floor the whole floor with this stuff. You got so much of it. And that's a lot. I mean, I think it looks pretty sharp, too, for the hallway. Again, for something that there's no instruction on, to have the elevator here, go up, the white little thing will be the new elevator that goes up to the center. You got your hallway here, and then you're going to have your 2 levels of apartment here. I think it's pretty good so far here. Again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I talked about that once before, but just the idea of it all, and, but here we are, we're finally making some housing here, I love commercial and residential, and finally getting to take a bite at the residential here. We're going to do so many things, with a house. We can decorate it however we want. We got this guy in the man cave. We got to get some dolphin stuff in there for sure, and all of that. So, but this is where we're at so far, Hey, if you watch this, God bless you. I appreciate you and thank you. And hey, I wanted to tell you, if you do watch this, today's the first day I had a great medical day at work in a long time. It was such a blessing. So praise the Lord. I appreciate you. Thank you, and see you on the next one.